All right, the coronavirus triggering a major market sell-off today. Fears were renewed over the weekend. We had a spike in cases and deaths in Italy, Iran, and South Korea, perhaps most notably. Despite this virus having over 77,000 confirmed cases and a cumulative death toll of 2,500, one sector is seeing a boost today. Few names in financials. Biotech higher today. Yahoo Finance's Anjali Kamlani joins us now for more. So let's talk about some of the big pharma plays. Gilead, Regeneron, both higher. Is there a real pathway towards a company having something like a cure, a vaccine for this strain of the flu?
Vaccine, no. Treatment, yes. And that's the key difference. So especially in the case of Gilead, right? That's the one that's been talked about the most. They have a partnership with governments here and in China. They're working on trials already. One of their drugs, one of their antivirals that they developed well before, I think in response to Ebola actually, has been repurposed. And so you're seeing a lot of this where companies are trying to pitch their repurposed drugs to try and get the attention of the market and try and see if they can roll it out really quickly. Now, the vaccine itself is likely to take a year to a year and a half before we get anything useful. The earliest I've heard someone say that they are likely to go to human trials is late summer.
So on Gilead, which is up some 4% right now, the idea that this would be a treatment, in terms of the total addressable market of a treatment, is it like a treatment along the lines of Tamiflu that you would take if you lived with somebody, or just that you would take if you tested positive? How many people would possibly go on it?
Ideally, it would be anyone who tests positive. But I think what's important is that it would treat symptoms. So if you're one of those asymptomatic positive people, it's unlikely that it's going to do anything for you, really. And as is, we know that this is really targeting in terms of, who dies from it. It's mostly older, more vulnerable population or very young. So it's also a very small market on either side of the age spectrum.
And I guess in general, is there a sense that we know increasingly less about this virus or more over time? Only because
it feels like it, right?
Right, because it was okay, China, cases in China, the number of cases per day had been going down.
Still are.
So the rate there, the second derivative, I guess you want to say, of the virus in China, which was the hotspot, had gone down. And now all of a sudden, entire towns in Italy are shut down. South Korea is closing schools for a week at a time. And it seems like there's still a transmission or how contagious it is that feels like, and I think this is the market's responding to, there's something still uncontained about coronavirus.
Correct. It is, from what I've been hearing from anyone who I've talked to, it is spreading a lot faster than they expected, and it is lasting a lot well into the season, more than they expected. With the trajectory that some had said early on, April was supposed to be when it peaked. And that's no longer the case. It looks like it will, at least outside of China, continue to grow and continue to spread. And so it's two sort of divergent storylines now, because you have the story inside China where it is, in fact, decreasing daily, and Wuhan is talking about, loosening some of their travel restrictions. Meanwhile, outside, you're seeing the lockdown.
So as you say April, then you can start talking about months in the summer. And some people are worried that the coronavirus might impact the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, possibly causing them to be postponed, even canceled. Is that even realistic to put into the realm of possibility?
Is there a precedent for flus lasting into the summer?
There is. So the flu season, right? We know that ebbs and flows throughout the year. So that's one thing that they're looking at is, have they dealt with the flu pandemic before? Yes. So that's where they're drawing any similarities and using that playbook. But for right now, addressing the Olympics, the conversation really centers around the precedent set there, whether or not the games have ever been moved or shut down, and they haven't, except for wars. And so they're looking to that to say, really, up until it becomes absolutely impossible to continue, they probably are going to, and they've been really, doubling down every time they're asked that it's going as planned.
All right, Anjali Kamlani with the latest on the coronavirus outbreak.